April Seawatch, Dana Point, California. Loons, Scoters, Dolphins, Shorebirds, Cormorants. Let's experience bird migration. Birders not only identify birds, but know many factors that influence their distribution and abundance. One such factor is migration, a seasonal movement between breeding and wintering grounds, often some distance apart. Something that coastal birders can do is to seawatch, to observe inshore bird migration from land. Pick a headland area or other mainland position with a good ocean view. If you're not prone to seasickness, as I am, go out on a boat during migration seasons. Some birding societies have pelagics. See for yourself the coastal Pacific flyway in action. Sea watching reminds me of my moon watching nights. I have some YouTube videos demonstrating migrating birds silhouetting against the full moon. You can see here, this is the first frame of a moon watching YouTube, some birds over the moon's surface in a sense. In sea watching, I'm dealing with an ocean bird highway that's a couple of thousand feet from my viewing position. Good binoculars or a spotting scope and tripod may become a necessity. I presently use a 10-power pair of binoculars and a super zoom camera with a light tripod to film the migration and then replay it at home. My ability to sea watch has increased with better and better optics. So I'm showing you here some of the camera equipment I used in the past and presently. These are point-and-shoot digital cameras with large zoom ranges. These are not high-end cameras, but they have their place in amateur wildlife photography. In this video, I'll share my Seawatch observations off Dana Point, California, from the headlands A on the map and the adjacent strand beach B. The C site was a one-time observation of loons on their migration stopover. Dana Point, California is about halfway between LA, Los Angeles, and San Diego. So let's look at location A, Headlands Preserve, Overlook 2. There's a brochure showing a map of the Headlands area and photos and text about the plants and animals of the area at the website shown. In the show notes, I'll add the addresses of websites mentioned in this talk. Here's a view of Overlook 2 that I used. I put my camera on a monopod or tripod, but not spread out, lashed to one of the upright posts with Velcro fasteners. That way my photographic footprint would not be a safety factor for people possibly stumbling over the support. The camera setup worked best focused on a fixed point, such as a distant buoy, which you can't see in this scene. The buoy also aided in helping focus the camera in an otherwise uniform ocean. The Overlook has gotten a reputation for one of the better sites in Southern California to do whale watching from shore. Because of that, it can get pretty crowded. This Overlook gets pretty crowded at times throughout the year. This is, though, from August 2010. Let's take a closer look at the observation area. You can barely see where that viewpoint is. You can barely make out the red buoy. I'll show you that. That's about 2,800 feet from the Overlook 2, and it's about 80 feet or so above sea level. And there is 2,800 feet. You're going to see a number of videos in this presentation. If you can see the slide background color on the top and bottom, as in this slide, then you are seeing the entire video frame. If the boundary color is not there in a video, then I've expanded the video over the slide to get a higher magnification. This is the Nikon B700 zoom in action. Pretty impressive. Actually, the camera I'm using right now, the P1000, is even better. While you're at the lookout, look to the left for San Juan Rocks. Binoculars are fine for viewing any wildlife on the rocks. See the harbor seal and the cormorants? You see that? The Nature Center used to have loaner binoculars available. I don't know if they still have them and loan them out. You might want to reflect on the rock's recent history and the force of the ocean. Let me take you back to 2013. In 2013, San Juan Rocks were a two-part formation. There was a waterway between the parts. I understand that people used to even kayak between the two rocks. You can see that. Winter storms took their toll, so by 2017, the northern part had fragmented into the ocean. Let's look at location B on Strand Beach. Here I'm 4,000 feet away from the buoy. There are some advantages to this Seawatch point, including staying out of the wind by sitting in that little nook, ability to see and prepare the camera for birds moving from the headlands waters to the buoy, no conflicts with people whale watching, and room to spread out my gear. So here's the power of the Nikon B700 camera zooming from the red buoy to the lookout at Strand Beach. You see there's quite a bit of water I can see to the left of it with binoculars, and then be able to know when birds are coming. Here's my setup on April 14th, 2023. Of course, beside the major disadvantage, obviously, is I'm 1,200 feet farther away from the buoy than if I were on the headlands. Another problem, the safety in my setup and my worry that somebody's going to trip over it, walkers or leash dogs, would tangle up with the tripod legs, and there, poof, would go my camera. This site gives a flatter view, obviously, we're almost at sea level here, of the buoy area. I finally decided just to position my camera set up against the bench and safely out of pedestrian traffic, although I vacillated. But now people walking by could temporarily block my camera view during filming. There's always a compromise. Let me reverse the zoom view of the buoy with my newest camera, the Nikon P1000. This is all optical power from 1/2 to 60. In fact, I think I could have zoomed out a little bit more into the buoy. You see California sea lions. Predicting migrant pushes. From my experiences, can I guarantee you will see migrating birds off Dana Point in April? My answer is no. During the loons' northern migration, my morning field trip might have no sightings, but the next day there might be a spectacular northern push of birds. Some April months were very rewarding, but other times yielded few migrating birds by my viewing station. A paper by Russell and Lehman in 1994 recorded daily afternoon Pacific loon migration at Goleta Point, north of Santa Barbara. They found peak migration in the middle of April with about 1,250 birds per hour, and a secondary peak around May 10th of about something like 500 per hour. Now here's some quotes from the article. The key word for me is variable. Variable. Nearshore flights are large but highly variable from day to day. Wind drift did not seem to be implicated in this variation. Peak traffic rates. So early May in 1976 and in mid-April in 77 and 78, even though they said it was mid-April entirely for their study. You're going to have patience to do Seawatches. So my strategy for the remainder of the talk, I'll start this main section with an April 2014 sighting. This will be Area C, and then concentrate on April of the years 2017 through 2023 using the headlands and Strand Beach viewing sites. So let's look at April 1st, 2014. what a surprise. I was looking out in the ocean at the base of the headlands area, but I was on cliff area and just looked down in the water, and there are loons all over the area. Just shows that any date in April might be good loon weather. And this is evidence they don't make the trip in one continuous flight. The wintering population coming by Dana Point is from Mexico. The group was some distance from my viewing spot on the cliffs and is the best my camera, that camera at the time, probably the Olympus SP590, could do for me. Most, if not all, of these are Pacific loons, but red-throated and common loons in smaller numbers migrate past Dana Point. Let me test your knowledge. What do you call a group of loons? Well, here's the answer. An asylum of loons, a crazy name. Also used as a cry of loons or a water dance of loons. Next is one of my first Seawatch videos. I didn't realize what I had on the video until I looked later at the images. Conditions were very cloudy with low light and fast-moving birds, a recipe for poor photography. The Olympus 590 was just not up to the task. In addition to that, I couldn't see what the camera was seeing because it was seeing farther down the water itself. So loons, and what did I see? Now this is a little tricky. I'm going to start the video. There comes probably a gull from right to left. You saw that, right? See all those dots moving across? Those are all migrating loons. You notice how spread out they are? Wow. But that's not what the question mark is going to be about. Now, they're starting to move more in the center. Look in the bottom. What's that? Wow, what's that? And watch again. A second thing there. What is that? Well, that is a gray whale with a calf. This situation made me decide to get better equipment and hope that with a mixture of luck, skill, and better equipment, that someday I'll get another chance for having two migrating class of vertebrates in the same frame. Let me show you that again. This time, I'm going to show you it with, I'm going to increase the brightness to 20% and the contrast to 40%, zoom in a little bit more, and hopefully you'll be able to see the loons better. There goes the gull. Here come the loons. You can see all of them. They're quite a number, really spread out. We're looking down from the headlands. When we look from the strands, they look a little bit closer together, almost as if they're in a line, but they're not. They're not. And watch down at the bottom, and you may see, not yet, you may see the whale coming up with its calf, and there are loons flying above it, or at least close to it. Pretty neat. This was the only time that I've seen migrating loons, mostly between the buoy and the headlands. They usually are seen beyond the buoy. So let's jump to April 2018. I have a Nikon B700. Sunny conditions, great sunny conditions. And so I want to show you an April 10th video, slightly blurry at the plane where the loons were flying, but the sunny conditions have made the photography a little bit better. This is taken from Strand Beach, so we get a flatter view, slow to 1/2 speed. It's in what's called bird mode, and 30 frames per second was the original. So give you a sense, remember this is slowed down, about what a loon migration would look like. You'd see bunches of birds. And then there would be nothing for a while. And then there might be some stragglers. And then you'd see a loose flock coming by. The kelp beds at this time had grown extensively and were in front of the buoy. Oops, somebody went in front of the camera. Now I'm going to show you, I'm not going to keep showing you videos every time I go out that I've taken videos on, but you'll see loons a little bit better with the newer camera. So that's what you might expect to see if you have good optics. April 2019 was another satisfying Seawatch year. I'm going to show you cormorants and loons and a feeding frenzy. So I picked this out of the videos because the question is going to be raised about how fast these birds are going. And in here you can see there are 5 loons, and this is a frame from the video that you're going to see. There are 5 loons, probably Pacific loons, and there are 6 cormorants, probably Brandt's cormorants. So how fast are they traveling? It's not known what the flight speed of Brandt's cormorant is, but, quote, some cormorant birds can fly up to a speed of 35 miles an hour. A note in an issue of Orc in January of 1971 by Ralph Davis indicated that 10-speed recordings of Arctic loons average about 44 miles per hour. So hint, don't bet on the cormorants. So here I've increased the brightness by 8% and the contrast by 25% to enhance the birds. And I'm going to accentuate their racing track. Something is missing. I know what's missing. The flag. Okay, no speed adjustments were made to this video. This is a full video frame. And here we go. Look how fast the loons are going, overtaking the cormorants. Finally, a sunny day with better, more focused images. I can see brown pelicans, gulls, terns, cormorants, perhaps a shearwater, and dolphins. What can you see and identify in this video? This is a frame. Here's the video. Remember, these are out pretty far, actually. If they were closer to shore, you would see waves starting to break. April 2020. Well, that was a disappointing season, the COVID year. I had agreed to do an exhibit for Earth Day for the preserve, Headlands Preserve, to set up my camera with a field monitor at the observation point to view the buoy and possible loon movement, so people could look at the field monitor. They wouldn't have to look through a scope or through the camera itself. But the entire event, like many others, was canceled, and I mostly stayed home that April. Wasted season. April 2021. Another year of poor April morning bird activity. What loon flocks I did see were well out in the ocean, and there weren't very many. But terns were back and fishing the stretch before me. So at least I'll show you that. They're out pretty far, actually. So I don't have very good resolution here. You can see there's even a boat way out there in that kind of misty area. April 2022. Very disappointing. I gave up after a few days without seeing pretty much anything, maybe a handful of individual loons. April 2023. Lots of stuff. So we'll start with this video of a Pacific loon. Now, I must admit I'm cheating a little here. I wasn't sea watching. I was at the Dana Point Harbor, and this lone Pacific loon showed up close to the harbor island. It was just swimming. Never did see it fly. It eventually swam out into the open ocean. That was a rare opportunity. This is a frame from the video. And here's the video. Cloudy conditions. You can't see its red eye. I bet if it was sunny conditions that I could have seen that. Pretty bird. So the 2023 mornings are shown here, an indication of bird migration. I would spend 1 to 2 hours in the morning on those dates. No loon video taken means there were no loon flocks or just single birds coming through, because I tried to film every single flock I could find, hoping that suddenly a whale would jump up. But that hasn't happened. Here's a frame from the next video of probably surf scoters, the most common Scoters species here. They flew over western grebes, barely seen on the frame. They should be gone in the next few weeks after this date. Western grebes, I found out, migrate at night. So there's the western grebes. I got better at panning flying birds, but I'm still improving my techniques. All 2023 videos are from Strand Beach, except for the swimming Pacific loon in the harbor. Yeah, it went by the grebes right there. There's another grebe. A lone member of another loon species, a common loon, was seen on the 16th. It's still in winter plumage. And the video, I'll show you the video. It's hard to keep the loon in the view with all the wave activity, and the camera looks like it's focusing in and out on the bird as well. A challenge. Challenge to the P1000 camera. Now I'm going to show you loons in the air, Pacific loons, in actual speed. And after I show you this, I'll replay it at 1/2 speed. So not only am I panning, I'm also had zooming in as well. Still have something to go to develop to really get that technique down. And this is the same section, except I'm doing it at 1/2 speed. April 17th was a really good run. So I started at the beach a little before 8:36 a.m. The first flock was seen about 8:51 a.m. I mean, there's nothing before that, no single birds. Pretty continuous after that. I filmed for about 69.5 minutes and 7-minute segments when loons were present. I stopped recording about 10 a.m. So I spent about 1.4 hours at Strand Beach, counted from the film when I got home, about 1,800 loons, or about 1,300 per hour, which is pretty much what the maximum was up at Goleta Point. Now, I had 5 shorebird flocks fly by on the 17th. I'm going to show you videos of 3 of them. Here's a frame from the next video showing medium-sized shorebirds. I'm not exactly sure of the species here. If you have some idea, let me know. So this is going to be at 1/2 speed. There's going to be lots of things to see here. Brown pelicans, white-sided dolphin pod. For size, they can be up to 8 feet in length. California sea lions, western gulls, loons farther out. They're 2 to 2.5 feet in length. An hour to be identified shorebird flock, framed, and I'm going to frame it in a temporary red box. At the end of this YouTube talk, I'll run the 3 minutes 45 second video segment that this clip is part of, with audio recorders to hear waves and actual speed. This segment is shown at 1/2 speed. So let's turn that on. Give you a Seawatch experience here. Not just those shorebirds. Comes pelicans. Some more pelicans. Get ready for the shorebirds. I think they're going to come pretty soon. There they are. It's 1/2 speed. And I'll run it a little bit longer so you can see the pod of dolphins. Here's a video frame of a flock of much smaller shorebirds. Peep is a term used for smaller sandpiper species. Can you tell from this what species it is? Least sandpiper, western sandpiper, or maybe it isn't a peep at all, but they're phalaropes. Don't know. So I'm going to mask this here. This is going to be 1/4 speed, and even at 1/4 speed, it's going to go pretty quickly. Here we go. This is another group that I have a video on. I call it Peep 2. They're still, it's going to be at 1/2 speed. They're still moving quickly. So I have an arrow there. Look at the point of the arrow, and you can see the birds flying by. There they go. Anyone know who they are? I had 2 more small shorebird groups that were little more than a blur going through the video frames. I won't show you those. And even if there are no loons or shorebirds migrating inshore, there are always cormorants and pelicans to look at. There's always something. People would stop by and say, "See anything interesting today?" And I say, you always see things interesting if you're looking. So for the non-birders who are looking at this, be on the alert in April at the ocean. If you go whale watching, if you're on a spring whale finding trip out of Dana Point, quote, "the dolphin and whale capital of the world." That phrase has been officially registered at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Keep your eyes open, and you may see off of Dana Point headlands next to the red buoy a migrating loon. So pay attention. If you were a boater, this is by half speed, zipping along with all your high-tech navigation equipment, where are you heading? Where are you heading? Where are the birds passing you by heading? Most actually are heading to Tundra Lakes. That's where Pacific loons are going, far, far away. Of course, you need to be looking in the right direction to see those speedsters. So this has been another of my JDW talks. I have YouTube talks on genealogy topics, census resources, Ellis Island immigration, natural history topics, including some virtual birding field trips in Dana Point, birding optics and novelty zithers and biology songs. And what I intend to do, if it's feasible, is I'm going to attach here at actual speed, a 3-minute, 45-second Seawatch that had those chunky-looking shorebirds, and you'll see the dolphin pod, etc. Will be in real time. Have fun.